everybody, and welcome to Red Wings Rant, where tirades and impassioned pleas for your Detroit Red Wings. Mike, they finally
have a home.
A home.
Woo! You know who else has a home? Showtime.
Woo! That's
right.
right. What if we like changed our character for the day? We just like the full episode. We're like, man, Steve Yzerman locked in Patrick Kane. Can you believe it? A 1-year deal.
Well, it wasn't just a contract. It was a small one with bonus incentives to make it play even harder than it usually does. Yeah.
Can you believe all those bonuses he had on that contract, Mike? Whoa, Smart. We're so protected and flexible. Yeah. All right.
I don't know about a competitive team, but man, we have some flexibility to watch other teams get better. Wow.
I don't know about a Stanley Cup, but man, oh man, are we spending wisely?
I don't need a Stanley Cup to take a victory sip on a well-managed cap situation. Yeah.
Mike, I don't know about a playoff game in 10 years, but man, do I have all my prospects. Woo!
Man, I don't know about free agency, but all the Red Wing game nights are going to be free nights for me because I'm not watching. Oh.
Mike, I don't know about putting an offer sheet down, but I know I was soft and cuddled up in my own bed sheets.
Oh. Okay. Did we get it out of our system?
Yeah. Okay. Performance art kicked us off. This has to be a lot of comments today. Performance art kicks us off. There wasn't much to get. Super dissatisfying to think it will be the same as last year. James gives us some goals, I guess, and maybe the goalie will shine. We'll see. So a lot of enthusiasm for performance art today. We've got a few here. Jared wanted everyone to know Matt puts unsalted butter on his popcorn and drinks off-brand Faygo.
Wow.
Well, You know what, Jared? Maybe I don't. Where's the camera? Oh, what are you going to do about that, Jared? Dr. Pepper. Oh, I don't know. This is dumb. I'm not.
We don't know what's actually in that can. It could be Mr. Salt. And don't go Jared. Woodward. Never go. Oh my goodness.
Never go full Woodward.
Man, you want to hear glasses half full of Kool-Aid? Man, go to Woodward. And Lance, welcome aboard. Saying yes. This was a boring free agent day. At least the Tigers, Lions, and Pistons, who just blew my mind, Lance, with an acquisition here within the last 60 minutes.
Oh, really?
Our playoff teams. Yeah. For those of you who only follow the Red Wings, the Pistons' big offseason guy, Malik Beasley, got busted gambling on himself. I mean, not yet, but the video footage does not look good for him. And the Pistons replaced him with a local guy, Duncan Robinson, who went to school at Michigan. He's one of the best three-point shooters in the league, and so looks like it'll turn out okay.
Hey, yeah. I mean,
that's how free agency is supposed to work.
Replacing Beasley, you have a place of need, and you're like, I'll go get the best three-point shooter available right now. Well, at that,
yeah,
I'm assuming at a off the bench role, that you can find, yeah.
He's at market value too for that kind of skill, and we're gonna not make this a Piston podcast because it's a Red Wings rant. And then Jeff McMahon, welcome aboard, Jeff, saying typical Yzerfail off season. Jeff, Lance, Jared, performance art. Hey, right back at you, Steve. Can I say, at first glance, I was inconsolable at work today. I was pretty devastated. But I think you have a slide coming, Matt. I don't want to jump ahead.
Well,
I don't want to jump ahead.
I wanted to look at everybody's comments so far so we could go into my two favorite comments so far today. And I did we're introducing our new slide colors that match the new Red Wings logo. All right,
red and
Mike,
green. There it is.
That's
tweet of the day
from our boy Sean Shapiro. At Sean Shapiro says, feels like outside of 3 fan bases, everyone is wondering what their team actually did to get better today. I think that is the best way to kick off this conversation because it can be painted, as Jeff put, typical Yzerman offseason. Someone could come to that conclusion, but I think us and a lot of fan bases are stuck sitting there going, oh, so they increased the salary cap and every team just kept their own players. Okay, cool.
Yes, that does seem to be the consensus, right? The teams that either got better or they did the status quo to be championship level. It's Florida, who cup, or Las Vegas, who was already becoming, a perennial. We're going to be in the, last 4 teams, Western, in the finals, basically.
Which may be best illustrated by my second favorite tweet today.
Can I read this one? I really like
it. Yeah, you're going to put some stink on it.
Adam Herman, if you are just listening to the episode, not watching on YouTube, the NHL needs to do something about the unfair competitive advantages that teams like the Panthers and Golden Knights have. It's not fair that they're being well run and the teams actually want to play for them. It's not fair. Obviously, tongue in cheek.
But it's there's a lot of call outs of 12 million for Mitch Marner in Vegas would have to be 13, 14 in another state or in Canada or something like that. That's fine. But also on top of that, they're not selling, like Florida and Vegas right now, they're not turning around and selling 100 years of hockey. They're turning around and selling would you like to win a Stanley Cup? All right, come on down. Come on over. I was going through the free agents that are left, and we'll take a look at that list in a little bit. And just for funsies, I was like, you know what? I wouldn't mind upgrading the third pair and give Brent Burns $1 million, right? Bring him on over, pay him pennies, and let's just see if something turns out from it. And then I was like, wait, why would he do that? He's going to go to Florida. Give him the absolute basement salary. And then I thought, wait a minute, why would he pick us? And that's kind of the position we're stuck in now. And we'll talk about that. But again, back to Sean Shapiro's point, It's us and so many other teams, but it just kind of feels like maybe an added, if Matt was still tweeting, the added thought to this one would be maybe a lot of teams are deciding right now, and not to defend Steve, but maybe a lot of teams are deciding right now, I don't think that Stanley Cup can be had this year. I think we're looking at 2 teams right now. I think we're looking at the Panthers and the Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup final. And, even the Knights, man, they lose Pietrangelo, and then right around the corner, Rasmus Anderson's putting out quotes. I'd like to play for the Golden Knights this year. And it's okay, whatever. Go ahead. So book it next June, Mike. Golden Knights, Florida Panthers. Should be a fun one. That sounds like a great Stanley Cup final, if I may. But
yeah, as Jared points out, a lot of palm trees. And we got Drew coming in also. Some GMs are going all out on this new cap space. Others, and I think Yzerman is in this boat, are kind of bargain shopping till they got to pay their own players to make a big splash.
Yeah.
And we'll go over Chris Brisboy. I think I'm going to use your comment as kind of a jumping off point. Where Chris says, and welcome, Chris, I'm trying to keep the faith, finding it very difficult to do. I think that's why Shapiro's comment is so important. Because really only feels like Florida, Vegas, and I don't know. Do you want to say the Rangers?
No.
At least because they stole the player that we kind of wanted. I
have no idea what the Rangers are doing. It just kind of, they're all over the place. But I know what you mean. I think
that part of it then is we can't. So Yzerman needs to do 2 things. One, I would start releasing when he makes phone calls and contract offers to people, kind of like the Tigers did with Alex Bregman. Just at least show us that you tried, because right now the feeling is that you didn't. When really what probably happened is these guys are like, yeah, don't bother, Steve. I only want to go into this Stanley Cup with a Stanley Cup team. No offense. I don't care about history. I want to win right now, and I want to play where it's hot. I don't want to be in Detroit right now. So I think that's kind of the flaw in putting all this valuation in free agency for this team. Because what you can get is like guys who are going to fill out your AHL roster. If you're not one of the top, 1, 2, 3 teams, or you're not Los Angeles or New York. So this should not be a path that you should not be putting a lot of eggs in this basket. So I can't really fault Steve for the Marner thing, because Marner, this was probably way too close to Toronto and Canada for it to be a real option. I want to get the hell out of here. I just want to go live an anonymous life in Las Vegas and win hockey games.
I heard that point a lot today, so I'm glad you brought that up.
So I think the biggest, I don't know if we want to say disappointment, because you can only make the trades that other teams want your stuff. I think that's where we're a little frustrated with Steve, and that's where I wish. I don't know if Noah Dobson was the end-all be-all, right, to rescue our franchise. But those kind of trades, you're playing the lottery, whether it's the draft or it's free agency, and you got to kind of Billy Zane and Titanic and make your own luck and make trades. And that's where Steve's got to kind of change his focus point. It's got to be Billy Zane and Titanic.
Sometimes I really love you, Mike. That is a really good one. I did like brand new. Actually, maybe there is room for us to pick up Brent Burns, because I forgot the Florida Panthers were like, Jeff Petrie, come on down for a league minimum. All right, so let's start talking about what happened this weekend, because we had a whole NHL draft that's happened since our last episode, so we can touch on what happened there. You kind of touched on, we ended last week talking about what we wanted to do at the first round pick, which is trade it for anything that we could use now. But I think I think we walked away last week and said there were a couple players on our mind that even if we stole a guy, we wouldn't have been as happy as we would have been with what we ended up with, which we'll talk about Carter Bear in a little bit. But first, Mike, the Dow, Peter Mrazek, which I like how somebody put this online. They were like, we traded a guy we should have never traded for John Gibson. I like that point. I think it would be funny if we just brought back Joe Veleno and put him on Grand Rapids at this point, because he, that was part of some of the guys that were moving around, and then he got bought out, I think, a couple days ago too. But anyway, let's go to the trade. Detroit Red Wings trade Peter Mrazek, a second-round pick in 2027, fourth-round pick in 2026, for John Gibson. Mike, for the first time in a few years, we have a legit starting goaltender. I would say even with the fallback on some statistics a couple years ago, he caught up a little bit this past season. But I'm just calling out the fact that this isn't us filling in gaps with guys who are the Alex Lyons, who were backups, the Talbots, who are still on our team, but were the backups on their former franchise. And John Gibson was the former backup for the Ducks. Of course, Lucas Dostal has just taken over that team. But John Gibson certainly had done his own. You just, at some point, your new goaltender gets too young, he gets too good, and the old guy's got to go. The $6 million cap has to go. Mike, Ducks kind of leapfrogging the Wings on, like, is it time to go for the playoffs? But that's a conversation for another day. What the Red Wings have right now, I think, as much as we give Steve a hard time, this is a definite upgrade over Peter Mrazek. And I could not, I'm going to say it correctly, I could not care less about a second-round pick in 2027 and a fourth-round pick in 2026. I couldn't.
The batting average on second-round picks, panning out for any NHL team, what is it, like 15%? Something like that?
No, it's probably that
even that
sounds too
seems high.
Yeah,
Even that sounds too high. So we gave up a couple AHL depth guys in a couple of years for a guy who's going to probably start 50 games for us if things are going well. I know there was some concern about is this guy's career not over, but as far as counting on him as a number one, is that over? But you got to feel pretty optimistic about that save percentage, right, at 912. It's for him the highest it's been in like 5 or 6 years, because he did have a couple of turtle years where he was 88, 89, not as close as he was in his peak when he was starting 60 games for the Ducks, and had that 926. Woo, is that beautiful? So I don't know if we're even necessarily shooting for that. I am a little worried for him that he gets to play behind what is largely the same defense as last year. The Hits, Siders, Sherratts, Edvinssons, Albert Johansson recently re-signed. And we'll figure out 5 and 6, I guess, maybe ASP, maybe. But I think that he's probably going to be one of those guys who feels better about, you are our number one. If I can quote Tim Burton's Batman movie, you are my number one. This is a Billy Zane move. This is the Red Wings making their own luck. Taking a look at some of the goalies that were available. This kind of did, you fed 2 birds with one hand kind of thing. You got rid of Mrazek, and you tricked the Ducks into taking draft picks that are never, ever going to pan out. I guarantee that those 2 picks never turn into anybody. There you go. Heard it here first.
Yeah, and it can't be forgotten either. JWT throws out there. He's not going to last long facing 70 shots a night. George Craig throws out there. We can't go into the season with the same decor. Like that
I don't think anyone. Yeah, that's the consensus, right? Is no one has a problem with Gibson. It's like who's in front of him. That's the problem.
Right. So there's more to talk about. I still would want to make sure we all are looking at this too with the right frame of mind. Do not forget, this is the most voodoo of all positions in sports. So we did upgrade, I would say, easy. I would mark this as an upgrade in the goaltending position. However, it is in the position that is the most crazy, unpredictable, immeasurable, eyeball testy position in sports. And you're also counting on a guy who just got a year older compared to a year ago. And I'm being sort of facetious there.
Yeah, it's
he's getting older.
It's relief pitchers in baseball. Feels like every year it's a new guy who has a sparkling 0 ERA, and then the next year he's just garbage. And he might be better the next season, but just kind of ebbs and flows. Also, fun fact, if you guys can hear our hot mics, both of our dogs are barking in the background.
I hope they're barking at each other.
We did have a few more comments come in, too. You hit George already. Oh, just Jim Johnson. Welcome, Jim. Saying, I believe the Wings will look at Orlov. Possibly Carlson in a trade. And Anderson is still out there, but there's already smoke that he's going to Vegas as well. Why not? You're not going to hear Matt and I complain about Carlson. We really want him to teach ASP, be his mentor. We'd be pretty excited about that. And then Jeff reminding us that hoping for a Bowen Byram trade, not holding my breath. Yeah, I think a lot of teams are, and I feel like we're the least likely to get him just because I don't think Buffalo wants to help out a direct peer.
100%.
So we would have to overpay in the trade back. So it's going to be tough. And then let me get one of my Michael in arms here, brothers in arms, Michael Script. Welcome, Michael, saying Iser plan, emphasizing the Z's for falling asleep. And then, Matt, we had another big, huge trade, at least as far as the Red Wings cap situation goes. We gave up on Tarasenko, waved the white flag, and we are getting future considerations.
Woo!
Now, I know it sounds sarcastic when we say I can't even say it. I know it sounds sarcastic, but is this a top 3 Yzerman trade? If only because he didn't have to throw in a draft pick and he didn't have to retain salary on what was largely a nothing burger contract in our books.
I mean, I'm definitely happy. I'm happy it's all set and done. Can you see that I'm changing our cameras right now? It's really bothering me.
The only thing I can see is that you look like Uncle Rico pretending you're surrounded by tiny little seahorses as your eyes kind of drift around the screen. For those of you that remember Napoleon Dynamite, I always forget which demographics we got in here.
Okay, that paints a picture for me because you can see I'm like, oh, and I'm watching our little cameras move around. Okay, I have no problem doing that. Certainly, I don't know what the hell Minnesota thinks they're about to take on. I heard on the What Chaos podcast, they were like, good trade for Minnesota because they didn't have to give anything up for this. And then, so it's the two guys. I think it's DJ and then Pete Blackburn. So DJ had that point, and then Pete Blackburn comes around and he's like, well, no, they had to take on a salary for a guy that's not quite playing up to that salary expectation. So we had a couple people actually already talk about the JVR pickup. So we can sort of tie this in there. Actually, we can run through all of these. We signed Aljo. We signed Berggren. Kane's coming back. We'll take a look at that in a sec. We'll come back to Kane. Ian Mitchell. Jacob, Bernard, Docker, a couple of depth defensemen. But yes, JVR coming aboard. Tying this back in with the trade of Tarasenko. 1 year, $1 million. Mike, this is the contract that we should have had Tarasenko on. Somebody said, is he going to have more points than Tarasenko this year? I'm not going to be shocked. I mean, he's going to come in and kind of play the same role. Max Boltman says Van Riemsdyk 16 goals last year would have ranked 6th on the Red Wings. Add scoring and I'm going to add the word very to Max's point, but add scoring at a very low price.
When I first saw this signing, I kind of rolled my eyes.
Yeah.
And then
I
kind of did a little bit of digging. And for what we're paying this guy, I think there's a chance we love this guy. When we had Tarasenko, part of the problem with him is his skills overlapped with like Berger and Kane, right? So we kind of wanted all 3 of those guys in the same position, making the same play. Kane is easily the most talented of the 3. Tarasenko is the newest. We wanted him to kind of get the bang for the buck. And Berger's the baby, right? So he's got to kind of defer to the old goats. So, 3 guys trying to do the same job. It's a little tough to do, but Van Riemsdyk is like, I kind of like banging around in front of the net and getting goals. And he's got some pretty fun highlights in the crease. I just think the way that this guy plays, it's going to be pretty easy for him to endear himself, especially if he's going to score on even strength, which is something that, Berger, Kane, and Tarasenko all had problems doing. They were all kind of, power play specialists. So for this guy to kind of get some gross stuff in front of the net, I think he's going to endear himself to the fan base pretty quickly.
His highlight reel on the Detroit Red Wings Twitter account is pretty funny. It's him skating by the goal as a puck is trickling in and he taps it in. So he stole a goal from somebody. And then another one is kind of like there's a mess out in front of the net and all of a sudden the puck's in the back of the net and the ref's pointing and they're like, goal. And I'm just like, hey, bottom 6. Give me those bottom 6 goals, baby. Let's do it for $1 million,
Yeah, he's going to be that Enzo Amore, the slap jalop. So I don't mind seeing some slap jalops out of that.
Also, this is mean, Jackson. I immediately roll into Twitter to confirm this, but Jackson's teasing us. And
did
saying
Jackson
that
just want to see all of us drop our phones at the same time? Because it worked.
Yeah,
it worked.
We're all like, "Oh my god,
so proud of yourself."
Yeah, I hope you feel good about that, Jackson.
But somebody had a really fun comment in here. Where is it? Lance was saying Detroit now has the 1st and 2nd pick from the 2000 NHL draft class in Kane and JVR. Awesome.
which 2007,
7, right?
7 or 8, right?
One of the. I remember that stat being up there though. 1, 2. Brand new saying, I'm okay with the JVR signing because it will make Cop and Compher feel guilty for how much money they're making.
Yeah, that's I like brand new's take here too. 36 points last season, 3 more than Tarasenko, and signed for just $1 million. That's not terrible, right? It's not. And I think we'll at the end of this, we're gonna kind of summarize everything that's happened so far. Nothing that has happened, no transaction that has happened are we looking at and saying, wow, Steve screwed the franchise. It's everything that didn't happen, right? And we'll talk about things like the Keandre Miller trade and can we still get Ehlers and are there still some other possibilities out there? Because once we get to this point of like, we just ran through all of our signings and we get to JVR and it's kind of like, all right, no, that's it, So, but yeah, we can. I do want to come back and talk about. So we wrap up the JVR conversation. Again, we upgraded over Peter Mrazek. I would say even too, like Talbot's on the team. If we want to talk about upgrading over Alex Lyon, John Gibson's that upgrade over those guys. Vladimir Tarasenko, I think you're going to get similar production out of a guy that's getting paid way less. And you don't have to worry about his contract next year, like you did with Tarasenko, where we last year were all saying, oh my God, that's so much money. Oh my God, why'd you do 2 years? Didn't make any sense. But yeah, coming back, Aljo signed 2-year contract with 1.125. So third pair feels okay. Berggren, 1-year contract at what is that?
1.8.
1.825.
Can I say I'm shocked? That feels like $1 million more than I would have anticipated.
Like the cap went up. Come on.
It's nothing against him. I didn't think Steve even liked this guy. He didn't like calling him up. He didn't like giving him minutes. And now they've re-signed again for a raise, nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. I was shocked to see this, especially seeing this before just locking in Soderblom. But I guess they're gonna try and ring Soderblom out for everything they can get. Wait, I'm getting a call. Why? Oh, who's calling me on Discord, you dorks? We can't do this live on the podcast. I'm getting a Discord call. Gosh
Dixon.
Darn it.
Come on, Dixon.
Yeah, is that Dixon doing that? All right. So rolling through though, the Patrick Kane signing. This is one like late Sunday, I think it was. Somebody was putting out the message that Kane might be sniffing around the Rangers. That might have all just been another farce, but
that was probably just leaked by his agent. Yeah.
Yeah, I got a little worried. I was like, okay, Kane to me felt like a sure thing, and if that didn't happen, I think that's when we're like, okay, we're fucked. But it does get done, so we don't even really need to talk about it too much. I think we'd all agree, like we kind of would have been looking at Steve a little bit, thinking, okay, Steve, this was the easy one, and you fucked it up, but he didn't.
It's our most recent example that the Red Wings can still pull a guy. You know what I mean? Because I know that a lot of it was because of DeBrincat, but we only got DeBrincat because of arguably Yzerman's best move as GM, which was probably his best trade. And then because of best trade, it had trickle-down effect to bring in a guy as interesting as Patrick Kane that other teams wanted, who still has some, sizzle to the steak. So I think it would have been a symbolic loss for him to walk away like, oh man, we can't even keep 35+ year old Kane on, a fixed, wizard hip. But yeah, we were able to bring him back. It does look like he likes it here. I know a lot of people gave Steve some grief for how he structured this contract, because you only got to clock in for 10 out of 82 games to make $2.5 million. That's pretty nice.
That's crazy. Yeah, that number to me is
when
wild.
I saw these numbers, it kind of felt like they should be flipped, dude. All right, we're gonna pay $500,000 for every 20 games that you make it. If you get us to the playoffs, $8 million bonus.
Right. Come on, Kane. Let's go, man.
Playoffs, dude.
250. Come on.
I'm sure this is some collective bargaining stuff that we haven't done the research on about why it's structured as such. But regardless, that would have been a devastating loss for us emotionally for him to walk away. So, Steve, you did Gibson, you did Kane, right? Matt, you got some other players here.
Yeah, a couple of nothing burgers with Ian Mitchell and Jacob Berger-Docker. I think Berger-Docker is the one you'd circle as being on the roster. Ian Mitchell, not so sure, but both by Jay Fresh are circled up as depth defenders.
Somebody had a little comment in here about, it was Drew, welcome, saying they read from a Buffalo fan, Docker. Has some talent, just can't stick when given the chance. Sounds like another Sproul.
Is that? I can't find that one. Is that Ryan Sproul? Yeah, there it is.
Oh, Sproul. Yep. There we go. It wouldn't be an episode Sproul. If I didn't mispronounce a name. There we go.
Sproul was actually, I loved him only because he came around when I was super invested in the NHL video game. So my franchise, he was my Norris winning defenseman.
Oh, look at that.
Yep, fell in love with him. Okay. We already talked about JVR, but just to recap here, 1 year, $1 million. Red Wings did not qualify Gage Alexander and Cross Hannes.
That was a surprise, right?
Yeah, I was a little surprised about that.
I think we thought it was going to be something.
Yeah, that guy had a hell of a head of lettuce. Thought at least you keep him aboard to see if you can get the ladies excited about hockey. I'm just kidding. But no, I was always impressed by that guy's hair. Qualifying offers, like we mentioned before, go to Elmer, Elmer Soderblom from NHL News at Puck Report NHL.
That's a real publication that put that out there.
And Emil Vero. All right. Okay, so here is. Oh wait, is this accurate? Because I think Granlund's off the board. Ah, damn it.
Yeah. Puce is still out there, though.
Yeah, Puce. But yeah, there was also the question, is Ehlers still available? So as we sit now, kind of wrapping up the day, Nikolai Ehlers. And this was, I'll go to this one real quick. This was like Elliott, at noon, right when free agency opened. I don't think we're going to hear anything on Nick Ehlers today. This one is going to play out a bit. So
he's basically probably looking at a dozen overpays, a dozen overpay offers.
Yeah. When you're all that's left, I mean, he's in a tier of his own right now for everyone that's left. And again, not that I would include Granlund in the Nikolai Ehlers tier, but take Granlund off this list that I've taken screenshots from Puckpedia and posted on a slide for you guys. But yeah, Ehlers on a tier of his own, like a legit potential, top line forward here. And for the Red Wings, a left wing, who's got a point per 60 number that is more than respectable and could certainly turn some heads if he gets that time with Larks and Raymond. I mean, Mike, where we sit right now, and I want to take a look at the roster, but this would be perfect. But he would be perfect for quite a few different teams that are kind of eyeballing him. So I think you're right. And I'm a little worried that the price that he's going to come under, and his agent made a wonderful decision to tell Nick to hold on for a second. I think he's probably looking like at 10 mil now. And maybe I'm going to look like an idiot when he signs for more than that, but
I think 10 mil is probably the going rate for what is going to be a franchise savior. Build is like a franchise savior, since 29 other teams look like they have their GMs have their thumbs up their butt doing nothing.
Yeah.
So this could be a guy to make it look like, hey, I'm going to save my job and, electrify a fan base with, the top free agent available. The only guy to really leave, his team outside of, Marner. But yeah, it's a huge get, and I don't put the Red Wings odds super duper high. I just don't know if this guy feels like what is going to be a distinguishing factor for him. Is
Like
it
what's
just opportunity? Because I got to feel like a lot of teams are going to say, hey, you're going to be on our top line and you're going to be our first or second highest paid player.
I mean, I've seen a lot of folks point out, like, we've seen Carolina making moves, and we know that they've been at the top of the conference the last few years, but people have been circling Carolina and saying this would be a perfect fit. Ehlers knows that. Now he's just waiting to see how much money he can get.
Can I run some teams by you?
Yeah.
Let's do a quick yes, no. All right. These are just the teams with the cap space. Do you think that he would consider? It's actually not as bleak as I thought it would be. Unless, some teams could make some moves financially, but Sharks.
No.
Ducks.
Yes.
Winnipeg Jets.
I mean, based on where everybody else is signing, you'd have to say yes.
Chicago Blackhawks.
No.
Calgary.
No.
Columbus.
Maybe.
What was that? 1, 2.
You're at Carolina.
3. No, I was looking at how many teams that is ahead of us. Then Carolina, yes.
Yep.
Penguins, we're gonna say no because it feels like they're trying to blow it up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely not.
Okay. Then Red Wings, Sabres, and it doesn't feel like the Kraken because it kind of feels like they're in the peripheral zone. The Wild, they have no idea what they're doing. Hello, Tarasenko. And I think outside of that, it's teams that only have like 10 mil. So that means, based on their roster size, it would be kind of hard for them to, complete the rest of their team and add him. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'd say Ducks, Jets, Wings, Sabres, maybe? Just to kind of stick it to us in Carolina?
I like that list. I feel like the Sabres they have 13 mil according to Puckpedia right now. Like they're just gonna that's their offer on the table right now. And Ehlers is deciding, does he want an extra 3 mil for the next 7 years to stay in to live in Buffalo?
It doesn't feel like anyone wants, like if there's a destination that's less sexy than Detroit right now, it's Buffalo.
Right.
So we'll take them out. So it's Carolina, us, Jets, and Ducks.
I'd throw the Mammoth in there too because I feel like they're trying to just bring in some more names.
Something splashy.
They were like they were one of the sexy or fun names, I should say, for like Marner kind of thing. But yeah, they've got to do a logo. They got to do something sexy. But yeah, as you run through that list, like there's still the teams though that I kind of am like, all right, I'm not going to be surprised when this happens. And I would put Colorado, LA. You know what? I mean, fucking, Vegas all of a sudden is like, you know what? Fuck you guys. We want Ehlers. Like there's a couple of teams out there that you're just never going to be surprised. Yeah. I guess I am definitely Vegas right now is at negative 7.61, but I'd still totally circle the Kings and the Avs. And then I don't know, like maybe Edmonton
really
needs to move some guys
I don't
around.
I don't feel like he's quite at the Avs level. I feel like they get big dogs, and this is more like the Red Wings, Hurricanes level of like superstar. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying. I think it would be crazy if like how close Edmonton has been now these last couple of years, like. If they made some space with one of these names on here and brought in like they leveled up what they were getting from like Ryan Nugent Hopkins kind of thing. I think right now too, like they would love to be spending that 9 mil that they're giving Darnell Nurse on Nikolai Ehlers instead. But there's realities there. But yeah, that's where I'm kind of like thinking too. Like I just don't want to cross too many names off the list or teams off the list that don't have the cap space because I do think he's got he's probably got 25 offers that he's going through right now.
Yeah, I hear you. I just, if we look at the reality of how he's been, we kind of talked about the warts a little bit. I don't know if we were trying to say that was making it more feasible for the Red Wings. Let's see if I could pull that up for you. But basically, he's never really been a first line guy.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's had interesting per 60 minutes, but not really trusted to be the top line guy. And he's, just taking a number. Like looking at the surface level stats, he's never really been he's never had a 30 goal season. So if you're going ham and giving this guy a raise from $6 million up to $10 million, which is probably what he's going to get based on who's left, that's a lot of money to be paying a guy who's going to score 25 goals.
Yeah, and being 29 too, I don't know, with how high this price is going to be. I hate to sound like Steve Yzerman right now, but I think the price is going to be too high for this guy at 29. And honestly, I want to take a look at some rosters. This has been so disappointing so far. I'm kind of leaning towards let's just do an internal build on the roster. God damn it.
Don't cave, buddy. I'll stay. I'll fight the good fight. You got to overpay somebody, and
what if we did? I'm looking at the names that are left here. Why don't we do a Pius Suter, Gustav Nyquist, and Thomas Tatar? We'll build out our fourth line.
I'm gonna throw up.
No, if we were going to be really upgrading this team, I think. Where's my boy? I'm trying to make sure he's still on this list. Dmitry Orlov would be where I would probably if I'm going to overpay somebody right now, let's do it on the defensive side.
Can I just say, even if you did give him a stupid contract, which is we're estimating it $10 million for, I don't know. I feel like maybe he'll want to kind of jump back in when the cap spikes in 2 seasons, because it's 95.5 now. In 2 years, it's going to be 113,000. So maybe you can get him for 2 years, maybe 22 million. The Red Wings will still have they're projected to have 47 million after this season, and they're losing nothing.
I never understood why this didn't happen more often, but just a 1-year deal and max out your cap on the guy you want to get, and just tell him hey, you know what? Just 1 year, you're going to have a great season. Cap will go up next year. You'll get an even higher percentage of cap, maybe.
So when if we give him 2 for 22, just a stupid high number, but it won't matter, right? This is in his own best interest too. This isn't just in Steve's interest.
Yeah.
After this season, Sherratt off the books, Hall off the books, Gustafsson off the books. And the only guy you really need to pay, I guess you could say Bernard Docker, but seriously, Simon Edvinsson, Patrick Kane, but that's just kind of year by year, and by this math, he's probably going to be doing 2.5 with bonuses.
Right.
So you're not paying anybody. So if Ehlers is 1 or 2 years of poo-poo bunny, you are in a ridiculously good spot. It's almost like you want to get ahead of the game now. Mm-hmm. Pay a stupid contract this year, because in a couple years you're not even going to know. It's going to be a drop in the bucket. It's going to be a drop in the bucket when next year 47 million. Year after that, the Wings are wide open. It's 80 million.
It could, yeah. I mean, especially as a hard time we do want to give Steve, you can't forget we're actually in a really good space right now because Lucas and Sider signed such stupid contracts for themselves. But if those guys are really going to be top pair and our top line for the next, at this point, it'll be 7 seasons. Man, we're going to have so much space to upgrade this team. But we got to actually, bring guys to the team. But we do have to say hi to some folks that are coming aboard. But let's hit a bunch of comments here. Brand new, I'd stay put in Winnipeg if I were Nikolai Ehlers. He already knows his role, plays it well there. Why downgrade to a shittier team for more money?
That's why I think, get more money. You haven't won in Winnipeg. And as far as a guy who's maybe a little frustrated that he's not on the top line, dude, you're going to be a god in Detroit. Like, we're going to worship you. You're going to be our first, like, real free agent that we've had in many, many moons. We're going to just worship this guy. So that's what's in store for him.
Logan Underwood, if it was up to you, would you give Brent Burns just a year to see how it works out? I would. We actually, you missed it, Logan, but that was one of the first things we called out earlier in the episode was Brent Burns still on the table, but I'd test that out for a year, see if he still wants to play. My guess is just that he's going to go find a Stanley Cup maybe and give himself some purpose. I always like the argument that you go with a team that might miss the Cup, because then you can go halfway through the season and then ask Steve Yzerman to trade you to whatever team you want. But I definitely would sniff around that just for funsies. It would definitely upgrade overhaul. So anything to upgrade overhaul.
J-Dub is here too. The only reason for Ehlers to leave Winnipeg would be to play for a team that is near an airport. Hey.
Where are we at? Where's another good one? Jim Johnson. I was actually hoping to trade for Thomas Hertl from Vegas, especially after the Marner sighting. Will might have a couple of those to discuss if you guys are willing. See if I can bring this up here. Hertl's definitely one. Mike, he'd make you happy. Barbashev would be the winger that you'd want to take a peek at in Vegas if they're going to be making some moves, especially bringing in Mitch Marner. But you upgrade over Barbashev. I think they'd be happy to take that upgrade over Barbashev, and that would be a name that I definitely come sniffing around. Hertl for me doesn't get me as excited as the potential for this nice $5 million for 3-year Ivan Barbashev, who you could see like the projected WAR at 49% when he was not doing so great until he got some time with the Vegas Golden Knights. That time with the Knights certainly paid off, and now he's top 80%. Just eyeballing it here for YouTube and the podcast listeners, but top 80% projected WAR across the NHL. Give him some good players to play with, which I think if we're talking about a Barbashev, Larkin, Lucas Raymond line, Mike, that's an upgrade over Soderblom, Larkin, Lucas Raymond from last season. So you are talking about, again, I hate doing this because I don't think you're sniffing a Stanley Cup with this move, but another spot on the roster that would be, has experienced the upgrade, like goalie, and upgraded over Tarasenko. And yes, now you upgrade on your first line over Soderblom. So some potential there.
Speaking of potential, Johan Blomfeld. What a great name. Welcome, Johan. Saying, Palat on the way to the Wings, baby. I don't know if it's wishful thinking, but I love it. What was the other one I liked? Oh, Jim Johnson saying if Pittsburgh retained 25% of Karlsson's salary, would you trade for him? Jim, I can't stress it enough. Our cap is wide open. And I'd much rather roll the dice on a dude like that than, trying to retain Sherratt or something along those lines, especially because Matt and I have fetishized this guy into potentially being a mentor for ASP. So That's our other goal, is finding mentors for ASP. And Crimson, I love this one, saying, I can't wait for everyone to tell me to be patient again, or it's hockey, it takes a long time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Can I just say it? I have hated so much being so involved on Twitter or X again and getting the news updates. And then inside those news updates is the argument of black and white. Like, is Yzerman the worst GM of all time? Or do you just not see it? You just don't see the full plan. Yeah. It's such a cesspool of like degenerates and negativity and people with way too much time on their hands to like go that long into an argument. I hated it so much. And I felt like I brought so much joy to my life getting off
I
Twitter.
thought that,
but
there's got to be a better way to, get this information and quickly.
I know.
Quick comment. I don't know the last time you guys went on X, but is it really like 50% porn now? There's no way I followed any of these accounts, and everything is like, hey, speaking of Dylan Larkin, you're going to love my OnlyFans. Like, what? No, I just was here for the hockey. All right, I'll hang around for a few minutes. But, it's hard to do when you're at work. Anyway. Vegas is already selling Marner jerseys in the arena store. Oh, God bless them. I'm letting you know right now, if the Wings had done that, I would have had a home and an away Marner jersey prepackaged and on its way to my home here in Oakland County. Does that mean Matt and Mike would get Burns-style beards? Matt, Brett Burns-style beards? Jim, I would if I could. I of my facial hair, my friend.
I was just talking to my wife about like, I really need to shave this close so I can pretend like I can actually grow a beard. Like, I have to shave it so close every day, or buzz it. I don't know what you call it. Yeah.
Speaking of getting buzzed, a few comments in here, starting with Johan. Johan, you dirty dog, bringing up the potential of a Larkin trade. Matt and I did cover that a couple episodes ago with the postseason interviews with Yzerman and McClellan. I don't know if they were just trying to put light a fire under, our beloved captain from Waterford here. But I don't know. I don't know how much smoke there is to an actual Larkin move, because I honestly have no earthly idea what he would fetch. No earthly idea what he would fetch.
There is a theory.
I think Larkin would go out on pitchforks, I think, if he took this team back and traded Larkin for picks. But go ahead.
There is a theory out there that with the new collective bargaining agreement that's being signed on this week, or has already gotten the signatures, they're getting rid of the LTIR cheat code, if I may. There's going to be this removal of the paper moves, like Steve Yzerman would send a guy down to the minors so that he could save, $10,000 for a couple of days. And then, they just happen to still be at the practice facility. So all those paper moves will be eliminated. The theory is this will unlock hockey trades again. It won't just be about salary cap. It won't just be about circumventing the cap. It won't be about bringing in a guy that's injured so that you can put him on LTIR. It'll be about, I want to see if this guy will perform better on your team, and you want to see if that guy will perform better on my team. Or maybe I said that backwards, but essentially back to the hockey trade. Guys being traded because they're not working on one team, and bringing over guys that weren't working on your buddy's team. Bring them over, see if it works. I like where that theory's at. I think you start to pull cap out of the equation for a lot of these trades and what's going on with so many of these teams. Because you did mention, like we talked earlier, about cap issues for some teams. And last year, when the season was starting, we had like half the teams were like over the cap, and they immediately had to play these cap games. And now we're at the point where it's just a handful of teams. They're going to, like Vegas will get through this upcoming season with the LTIR moves, and then the cap's going to go up again. We're going to get to this point where we're sort of coming back to, let's just trade hockey players for hockey players. And I think that might be the point where we unlock real potential for a Larkin trade.
So the way that Puckpedia is trying to present this information is this year is a tough one, 95.5. Next year it goes up $9 million. So it's going to be so easy for Vegas and Florida to kind of figure out what they want. This year will be tough, but if they can kind of just squeeze by and nudge right up against it, exploit that long-term injured reserve as much as you can. You'll be fine next season, and then the year after that, you get another $3 million bump. But yeah, it's almost like Steve's got to let the market settle, because I assume he's never getting fired. Steve's got to let the market settle for these 2 seasons before things kind of flatten and even out, in 27, 28 and going forward. Because, these good teams, if I had the choice to go, if I was Mitch Marner, why would I want to play somewhere not Florida or like Las Vegas? Like it makes sense. But those teams are they're only in it because of things that they can exploit, right? Like long-term injured reserve. So once we snuff that out, that'll kind of add, an inevitable extra layer of parity, because those top dogs won't be able to just keep, plucking all the good, cherries off the tree, because they can't afford it. It's going to have to go to the next tier down. Will be able to figure it out. And if not, if those players demand to go to the Vegases, that's when you have to give up something to make these numbers balance. So
I just want to scare everybody with Florida, but Bobrovsky's contract is up at the end of this upcoming season.
Oh no.
Is there any way he doesn't pull like a Bennett and just like, I'm going to come way under market just so I can keep this team together? Like he's right now at obviously that 10 mil, which is, infamous. Yeah. He's going to sign for like 5 mil next season. And they're just going to, like, this entire team is pretty much signed, especially all the core players are signed till like 2030. This is honestly, this is like art, what Bill Zito's put together on Florida. This Puckpedia page is incredible. Don't open up the Puckpedia page and, hey, how many draft picks do they have coming up? Don't do it for that reason. But if you want to see the here and now, man, maybe you don't make a push in this division right now, because it just doesn't make sense. But anyway, we've got, we want to wrap up here because we don't have too much more to talk about. We still haven't touched on the draft, but
that'll have to be together, Mike. Episode, I think, too. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have. I mean, what are we gonna add to it besides saying we like Carter Bear too?
Great.
Speaking
name.
Of Carters,
yeah,
I put together. Here's my go at it. We get through training camp. We don't add anybody else. There's no Nikolai Ehlers that's added. There's no trades. This is what you're looking at, Mike. This is not a playoff roster, but can I just tell you, I would be kind of excited for the season to start, so I could see Mazer on the first line and see what that looks like. See Lombardi on the fourth line. I mean, like the fourth line for me, I haven't been excited about a fourth line for the Detroit Red Wings in a long time. But if I was seeing Van Riemsdyk and Lombardi and Berggren too, Mike, that's a fun fourth line for me. And the third line, Kopp, Soderblom, Michael Rasmussen, I kind of was just giving the fans a bone here. They love their Andrew Kopp. Compher I just kept off the roster. I'm just like, I don't care anymore. What's the point? But yeah, if I run through this, that again, the first line, Mazer, Larkin, Raymond. Second line is our go-to, DeBrincat, Casper, and Kane. Third line, Soderblom, Kopp, and Rasmussen. Fourth line, JVR, Lombardi, and Berggren. I'd be excited to watch these games and see what happens and see if some of these guys can sort of elevate themselves. This still gives you the opportunity to still build MBN, Nate Danielson. You're not rushing. So obviously the easy thing to do here would be to like cut out that third line and just build a monster prospect line, but I'll be conservative and not do that. But the defense.
Can I say I would honestly not be surprised if Van Riemsdyk made his way to the first line. Not that I'm dying for that to happen.
No,
but
you're
stylistically, they might say, "Whoa, we need someone in front of the net for Larky and Ramey." So there we go. And then Mazer and the Burger and somebody at center on that fourth line will just kind of be fun to watch the kids bang away. But I love this defensive setup you have. So if you guys are listening to the podcast not on YouTube, it's old reliable Ben Sherratt and Mo Seider have 1-2. Edvinsson and my baby boy. I always knew, baby boy. Sandy Pellica. Man, you dirty dog. How could you? making him be subjected to this torment here at the NHL level. And then Albert, don't call me Albertson, Johansson, and Tuomiso at number 6. And then, of course, Mr. Rafters himself, Sting. It's Sting! Justin Hall and Gustafsson. May he never play another second in the winged wheel.
Yeah, I didn't hate, like, if you take a look at the Griffins numbers, like, Tuomisto turned in not so bad of a season, and he's definitely a name I'd rather have on the roster instead of Gustafsson or Hall. So you get some potential here for, like, oh, it'd be nice if this all worked out, which is way more fun than rolling back much of the same group you rolled out last year. Which is just, I get it. Like, we did better the second half of the season, but it's not gonna move the needle, man.
God, can you go back a sec? It would be so cool to have Carlson and ASP try to figure it out as the 5-6.
I tell you, man, that would be one spot where I would
be perpetually 6 to midnight if that was the case.
I do think for me, that makes me wonder, how are you going to figure out another left side defenseman? Because I feel like at that point, I'd want Sherratt with Axel. And then we need to figure out what's going on the left side. Because I'm going Edvinsson and Carlson. I don't have a first pair D to go with Seider. And then, what did I just say? Oh, and then Sherratt with Axel on the third pair. Did I repeat myself? Edvinsson, Carlson, Sherratt, Axel. Seider needs a playing partner, which I'm not sure what that is yet. But that would kind of be where it gets a little confusing, where you're like, it's pulling Erik Karlsson. And then you're like, okay, we don't want to put Karlsson on the third pair, and I do like this build, at least, like the Edvinsson and Axel playing together, but maybe it's like if Orlov comes into play too, like you can get him on a 1-year deal just to sort of figure this out a little bit easier. But you definitely don't want to do something like Orlov and Karlsson. So you're gonna need some youth playing with the old farts, and that's kind of how you would just break that down going down the list.
Man, the comments are coming in hot on this lineup, by the way. J-Dub saying, 4th line, they've been rolling 4 third lines for 3 seasons most nights. And then Brand New saying, we have 2 second lines and 2 fourth lines up front. This roster's not any stronger than last season.
I think that's true. I don't think I built a stronger roster. I think I built one that's more interesting for us.
Well, there was one more position to look at, and it was goaltender. Talbot, you're actually not going to be our 39-year-old number 1 goaltender. You're going to be our number 2. And Johnny Gibbs, the most significant upgrade so far for this team.
Well, before we wrap up, we'll touch on Carter Bear, but I do want to show this roster does look significantly better just making one move, so it is kind of interesting.
2 moves,
but if you guys can hit the like for us real quick. Just a little like spike there. I'm going to steal that from my new favorite podcast, What Chaos. But hit that like button for us while we're moving here. But
Jared, you're in the chat. We need you to harass people into hitting that like and follow button. Thank you, Jared.
But you add Nikolai Ehlers to this. It just kind of feels like everything starts to make more sense on the roster. And I'd say you elevate, like what Brand New was saying. You have 2 second lines. You now have, I think you have a legit first line there, especially if we're going to play this game that Lucas Raymond is in this growth period, and he'll still be adding to his production numbers. Yeah.
Yeah. That I don't hate that top 6. That's pretty sexy. I mean, sure, we can see if Carter Mazur figures it out, and I know Van Riemsdyk's probably going to get half the games in the first line, so I'm just buckled up for that inevitability. But, man, if we could seduce Ehlers into those beautiful, if I can quote Dan Dickerson, beautiful red-white jerseys here of your Detroit Red Wings, be pretty nice.
Jim thrown out there. I just hope Asp makes it out of camp, which would certainly help us. Crimson.
You know why?
Yeah.
You know why he's going to make it out of camp? Because I promised myself I wasn't buying any more Red Wing jerseys. But when my beautiful baby boy makes it on opening night of Game 1, I'm not going to not have a Pelika jersey on. It's going to happen.
Crimson throws out there. Detroit's become a retirement home. Jared just flat out was like, no, I'm not going to help you guys out.
Thanks,
Dixon
Jared.
says, hit the like button or Justin Hall's playing first line minutes.
Yeah, Dixon, my man.
Clamp Sauce, retirement home. Same was said in 2002. Woo. Well, here's the thing, Clumpy. All right. We talked about Barbashev a little bit. Why not steal some Mark Stone from the Golden Knights? Like, I love that we're so humble and we're so pragmatic when we talk about moves to like fix other teams' cap problems. Fuck the Golden Knights. Let's try and get Mark Stone out of there. Another couple of options for that Nikolai Eller spot and trying to fill out the first line. Why not go into the Jordan Kyrou conversation? It looks like that was heating up with Montreal and didn't happen. So another GM could just step in. Why not pick up a Jordan Kyrou?
Don't hate that.
Oh, well, this didn't happen. This was super disappointing.
Damn it. We could have that awesome hair on our team. Damn it.
I know. And last but not least, Mike, we'll hit on Carter Bear, Mike. Carter
Hold on.
Bear.
Can I just, Jared said, when does Max Pacioretty sign with Detroit? Do you really want me butchering that name every single time we go through a box score, Jared? No, that's a nightmare. No. Give me Carter Bear. 3 syllables. Love it.
Mike, the only thing I want to point out here, because we're not draft experts, but we did at least look at this kid.
It's pretty cool. We drafted a 14-year-old kid. Pretty excited for him and when he's in 10 years.
But the analysis was here, like, not just a two-way player or, not just the guy who plays the boards hard, but a combination of the guy who plays the boards hard, the two-way player, but has the skill to score. And Mike, he's a winger. So we have some real potential here that in a few years, Mike, in 5-6 years, you're going to have Carter Bear, Nate Danielson, and Michael Brantzig-Nygaard rolling in with some beef, building hopefully what some might think would be a Florida Panthers comparable. But anyway, the part I really love, Mike, this is it. This is all that really matters to me. We are 2 years removed from watching Nate Danielson, who could not have been less tickled to be drafted by the Detroit Red Wings. And 2 years later, Mike, my wife could come in here and corroborate. I think I'm using that word correctly. I was smiling ear to ear watching this kid talk to Steve Yzerman, and he had no words. He was just so excited. Then he started crying when they did the, brought the parents over to be like on ESPN.
Yeah.
Mike, I love Carter Bear. I haven't felt this excited about a prospect in a while. One, because I'm so negative, but two, I mean, just like the music I listen to, Mike, I'm probably an idiot when it comes to selecting my favorite bands. I probably would get made fun of, but I love just give me 3 hard chords, but a guy that just belts his entire life into every lyric of a song. To me, that's what we're getting with Carter Bear so far as a hockey player, because all I hear is his nonstop motor. He never stops running that 100% when that puck's on the ice, and he shows he shows the emotion, and I am so in love with this pick.
Oh man, so this is your ASP.
No, because I obviously was really high on Roger McQueen, but obviously he'll work out pretty good with Anaheim.
Roger McQueen was my guy. You can have Carter Bear.
All right.
I think you like Carter Bear because he looks like Nathan Fielder. I wonder how many times he did the rehearsal for his interview with Steve Yzerman.
Well, it's funny too. You know what probably gets me? If I tell my son to smile for the camera, that's the smile he gives is the picture on the left there. So there's a part of me that's like, oh, look at the little guy. He's just giving a good little kid smile. Yeah.
Is this true that Carter Bear sounds like Joe Swanson? He sounds like Putty from Seinfeld. Is this true?
Oh, I don't know if I can confirm that. I thought he sounded like a little kid.
All right, we're gonna have to hear that again. But yeah, we do have some folks swooping in, excited for another Red Wings St. Louis Blue transaction. Wouldn't hate a Kyrou move at all. Well, I guess we probably ride off into the sunset. But I would very much like to have a reason for an emergency podcast, even if it was later tonight. Should Ehlers get signing on that Yzerman contract, or God forbid, Steve makes another trade.
People are posting their purchases of Mitch Marner jerseys on X. Yeah, I'll keep an eye all day. Today I barely paid attention to work. I was just on my phone all day. Honestly, I was doing my Elliot Friedman impression. I'd see Elliot tweet something out, and then and join the Discord, guys. That's pretty much all we did today. Shout out to Dave Aikman, Jared, Ketzel. We were all just pretending to be Elliot Friedman just for this podcast. It was pretty silly. We're all watching the same guy's tweet, and we're like, "Oh, first person to post on the Discord wins." But yeah, it was a lot of fun today. But certainly, if you guys want to have a good conversation about what's going on, you checked out the podcast today. Realized that maybe there's two Detroit hockey fans that are goofballs but still have their head screwed on. Or, I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know. Give us a shot. Subscribe, but join the Discord. You can find that in the show description. Would like to have you guys. All right. Long episode. Hopefully we'll see you guys again this week so we can talk about Ehlers, the Connor McDavid trade. We'll see you guys. There's something big, apparently. The Athletic. Steve's got something big. Can I just say, if the Athletic, when they put out their silly little article that Steve has something big, and we walk away, and this is the extent of it, I'm never listening to another inside the rest of my life.
It better be as big as the hog on that 28 years later zombie, because that's what I want.
Samson?
I want it to be as big as Samson's dong from 28 years later. That's the kind of news I want from Steve. That's what I want.
Mike told me there was a huge spoiler in that movie. Remember I didn't realize he was talking about the spoiler that was hanging from that guy's midsection. Jeez, oh, Pete. 28 years later. Really good. A+. I haven't given a sure A+ thumbs up in a while, but that was really good. All right.
All right.
Everybody, have a nice night. Drew, 3:30 a.m. in France. Love you, my man. Please subscribe. Show up to all the fun episodes. You can complain with us. Rant along with us.
You guys are Samson Dongs in my heart. I love you guys.
Oh, yeah. That's what we should call our fans. Samson Dongs.
Samson Dongs. All right, Samson
I'm a Red Wings rant Samson Dong. All right. See you guys.
All right. Bye.